Hi guys. I guess I should start from the beginning. So recently, a friend reached out to me. It was very encouraging, and it just really encouraged me to continue making these devotional videos. That's what he called it. And I was just like, yeah, I guess they are kind of like devotional videos. And I guess it's been something that I've wanted to do for a long time. But I was always really insecure posting my face online, or even just, insecure of not being like a Bible scholar or anything like that. But honestly, God uses the rocks. Like, you don't have to know everything to be used by God. So I've decided to post more of these videos. So yeah.
This morning I was actually attempting to play the guitar and going through a few songs in this songbook from my old missionary school, Reach. Honestly, one of the best times of my life. I noticed that the songs that I kept flipping to, and honestly, I was just playing any song that I knew the chords to, still learning. And all of them had to do with light. So the first one was Go Light Your World. The second one was Shine, Jesus, Shine. And there was another one, Shout to the Lord, that also talks about, Jesus. So all of these had to do with Jesus, him shining and what he can do through you. And I was just like, wow, journaling is something that I've come to find is really helpful. For me, writing letters to God, during my devotional time or just before bed, getting all my thoughts out, telling him how I'm feeling, what's going on, it's helped me tremendously, especially during this time, during COVID, something that I'm aspiring to do more of. And this thought just kept coming to my head, which I recognized as God communicating to me. But I guess that's like a whole nother video on how do you know the voice of God? How does God speak to you? This thought just kept coming to my mind, and this image keeps coming to my mind during this month and last month, just saying, like, come pick these flowers with me, like, come pick the flowers, like an image of God as a little boy inviting me to come pick some flowers. I find it hard to trust people. I find it hard to be vulnerable with others. And I was speaking with God about this and other worries that were on my mind. And the image that kept coming to my head, interrupting my thoughts, was of a small child, like a little boy, just picking flowers. And why is our dog by the street? Okay, if you see me looking that way, I'm just watching the dog. But yeah, because of certain things that I've experienced in life, I can find it at times hard to be vulnerable with others. And I was just talking to God about this, something that's been on my mind a lot recently, especially after watching a TED Talk. The lady was a social worker, and she was sharing how the most happiest, fulfilled people out there, and not necessarily always happy, always positive, because life and human emotion, the most fulfilled people out there are the most vulnerable. And I was just like, wow, that really hit me like a ton of bricks. So I have the definition here. Right when you Google search it, it says vulnerable, an adjective, susceptible to physical or emotional attack or harm. Right? It doesn't sound fun. According to Webster Dictionary, vulnerable, the first definition, capable of being attacked or emotionally wounded. 2, open to attack or damage. Basically, it doesn't sound fun. It's just being vulnerable, like you're open to getting hurt. Something that's been really important to me is protecting my peace. I feel like that's something that we all do. We put up a wall so we don't get hurt. But putting up that wall, we can miss out on so much life. So, okay, going back to the songs that I was playing this morning, Shine, Jesus, Shine, like some of the 4 chords that I know that I could actually play on the guitar. So, one of the definitions that I like here, it says to give out a bright light somewhere in order to see something in the dark. A quality of brightness, especially from reflected light. There's a certain quality about it that's different, that stands out. And I see that a lot in Jesus. Like, I imagine that he had to be very vulnerable to love broken people. It's that quality of unconditional love that you can't get from anyone else. No one. No one knows me that deep. You know, no one loves me that much. And so people are looking for something authentic and real and warm and loving. And I feel like that's part of why Jesus shines so bright. And that's why I want Jesus to be in my life, so that I can reflect his character. I'm just so thankful for that image that God kept sending to my mind of him just inviting me to come pick some flowers, like in the middle of this chaos that I seem to be going through, or in the middle of a garden full of thorns. He's inviting me to come over to the flowers and just to go flower picking with him. He's asking me to just spend time with him. And from that, I've noticed just so many weights, just like that I used to carry, just falling off of me. And somehow I can feel myself becoming more vulnerable. And it's not because of something I did or necessarily changed in myself, but it's just with spending time with Jesus. Like, you begin to open up. And I was just thanking God last night because I've begun to see parts of myself that I haven't seen in a long time. Like a little girl that I never thought would come back, or that I'd have access to be again. And it's like I'm older now. I'm like 22. But now I'm able to see this young child in me running wild and free and happy and full, and it's the most beautiful thing, because I never thought that I'd be able to see that girl, you know, just at peace and full of joy and being her full authentic self. Like, it's, in my eyes, it's a miracle. But yeah, so back to the song. This is what I'm going to do my devotional off of. I know I was talking a lot, but so a lyric from the song that kind of brought me to reflect on all of these things is, as we gaze at your kingly brightness, so our faces display your likeness, ever changing from glory to glory. Mirrored here, may our lives tell your story. Shine on me, shine on me. Honestly, the whole lyrics, if you haven't heard the song Shine, Jesus, Shine by Graham Kendrick, like, please look it up, listen to it, read it, and just see how these words, these verses can really connect to your life, and how this song can illustrate your experience that you're having with Christ, or the experience that you want to have with him. Yeah, it's just so beautiful. It's, the end of the chorus, the line says, send forth your word, Lord, and let there be light. The first verse as well really caught my attention. It says, Lord, the light of your love is shining, in the midst of the darkness shining. Jesus, light of the world, shine upon us. Set us free by the truth you now bring us. Shine on me, shine on me. Since this pandemic, it's been such a roller coaster, but I don't know if anyone else can relate, but I've experienced a freedom that I've never experienced before in my life, in the same place where I feel like my freedom was quite literally taken away from me as a child. And I have been able to see God literally restore and renew, and I've been able to see his promises before me, like each of them come true. And I thought I needed to be in a different place in life, location wise, but literally, like, God, when you invite God into your life, he fills that space. Like, these are healings and things that I've been asking for years, and it was just like, okay, you know, on the other side of heaven, yeah, that's when, on the other side of this world, in heaven, like, that's when I'll be healed. That's the hope I'm looking for. But similar to when Jesus went to raise up Lazarus from the tomb, and the sister was just like, oh yes, Jesus, he'll rise on that day when you come, you know, on the second coming, he'll rise. I was that sister. I was like, yes, you know, I'll be healed then. Literally, like, life, resurrection, restoration, it's not an event. It's not something that I have to wait for. It is a person, and his name is Jesus. Just like Jesus went to that tomb, and Lazarus could have waited. No, he could have just been like, yeah, you know, he'll rise, you know, when I come again, the second coming, when the whole earth is renewed, when all evil is wiped out. Yes, he could have done that. But to the Father's glory, he went and raised Lazarus from that tomb. He brought healing before that time, and I'm starting to see God, like, and to notice the healing that he is doing in my life. Like, he's never left me to suffer. And it's just like, I'm not the same person that I was when I entered this quarantine. I've been, yes, 2020 has been a very hard year. I've lost loved ones. I've lost a few friendships. I've been dealing with anxiety and separation anxiety, being away from friends, having the weight of school to care about, worrying about my grandparents and my friends, how are they doing? It's been a lot. But I'm so thankful for this year. And if it were not for this year, I don't know where I'd be right now, to be honest. I would not have the same freedom that I have now. And I know things are looking bleak, but what I choose to hope in and believe is that God is greater than the enemy and Satan, who was down here hurting people, you know. But yeah, I choose to believe that God is greater. Like, when sin abounds, when there's hurting, where there's heartbreak, where there's death, God's goodness and grace is greater. Like, I've been seeing so many bright spots in my life. I've been that girl. That image that God keeps bringing to my mind is coming to me now, about how I'll just feel like I'm stranded in the midst of thorns, like in a garden of briars. But yeah, I feel like God is continually inviting me. He's that little boy that's excited. Hey, Hermina, come pick these flowers. Did you know that these were here? Did you know that this is the only season where these flowers grow? And before, I didn't notice those flowers. I just saw the pain and the hurt. I would just used to cry in the middle of that garden. But God is showing me all these beautiful things in the midst of that. And I'm just so thankful. And yeah, I don't know what this was. Maybe it was a devotional video. Maybe this was testimony time. But I hope you were blessed by this. And I just want you to pray and ask God to show you those flowers. Ask him to show you where Jesus is shining in this darkness. So yeah, I hope that was a blessing to someone. I hope it made sense. It's kind of all over the place, but yeah, I hope you were blessed by that. I was gonna read a Bible verse, but I guess I'll read it now. Maybe you can reflect on it later. 2 Corinthians 5:6-8. For God, who said, let light shine out of darkness, made his light shine in our hearts to give us the light of the knowledge of God's glory displayed in the face of Christ. But we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us. We are hard pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair. Psalms 27 verses 13. It says, I would have despaired unless I had believed that I would see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. And I believe that we shall see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living, that God is doing good and great things, and that we should continue to believe even when what we see wants to testify otherwise, let us testify to the goodness of God and what he has promised. Hold on to his promises, y'all. That's what will keep us through. Let that be our hope, who he is. So yeah, I hope this was encouraging. I know it was all over the place, but usually my devotional time is pretty much all over the place. Yeah, one thing that I do for devotional time, not very often, but sometimes, is to read a song or a hymn and just go back and really reflect on the words, sing it as if it were a prayer to God himself, and just, circle different words or write lines on what stood out to you, and kind of go deeper, reflect on why that stood out to you, or what that song is saying about who God is, and in relation to that, who you are. I know this video's probably very long. I've been recording this on Snapchat, so I've had to do like multiple videos that I'll put together. Also, I'm still off of most social media, except for Snapchat, obviously. But I will be posting these videos and then getting off. Hi guys. Let me pray. Dear Lord, thank you for shining your light in us. Thank you for being the light of the world, Father. Thank you for just speaking light into us with your truth and your love and your grace and your mercy and your kindness and your justice and your wisdom. I want to ask that you continue to speak over each and every one of our lives, that you continue to shine in us and continue to renew us and to make us new, Father. In the name of Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen.